Your Mitsubishi heat pump controller will display several icons that will give you an indication as to the status of the system. In the top left is the hot water icon with a pause symbol next to it, meaning that the hot water is not operational. Below that is the heating icon with a play symbol next to it, meaning that that is in operation, and the clock symbol above the play symbol means that it is being governed by a time schedule. At the top centre of the screen you can see the time and the date, and below that you can see a radiator symbol, meaning that the heating system is operational. Below the radiator symbol you'll see a temperature value which tells you the exact temperature of the hot water stored in the hot water cylinder. Centrally on the screen is information regarding the weather compensation curve of the system. So currently it displays 0 degrees, meaning that the weather compensation curve is operating according to factory settings. If you find that your heating is either too slow to heat the house or heating the house too quickly, you can adjust up or down the temperature of the weather compensation curve using the minus and plus keys, as I'm doing now. Our advice is to slowly make these adjustments. So for example, if you find that despite your room sensor settings, the house is getting too hot, you would reduce the weather compensation curve by 1 degree to tell the heat pump to produce a lower temperature. That should be left for a minimum of 24 hours to take effect before making any further adjustments. The right hand side of the screen shows the Legionella function, which is an integral part of your hot water system. We will always leave this set to on, and what happens when it is set to on is that the immersion heater will heat the tank of water to 75 degrees once every fortnight to kill off any Legionella. You can turn this off in order to save energy, but we don't recommend doing it. The next icon on this screen is where you can make adjustments to your heating system. If I highlight the heating icon and press tick, I can change between weather compensation mode, fixed flow mode or room thermostat mode. As we use third-party room thermostats, the room thermostat mode has no effect. The fixed flow temperature mode, shown by this icon, means that the heating system is taken out of weather compensation mode and will produce a fixed flow temperature, which you can choose in the main screen as follows. If I press the return key, to go back to the main menu, you will see that the weather compensation value has been changed to a fixed temperature, which we can adjust up and down depending on what is required. This basically means that the heat pump will produce, in this instance, 48 degree water, which will be circulated around your radiators. We will always leave your heating system left in weather compensation mode, as this is the most effective and efficient way to run your system. If we move along to the schedule timer, we can now adjust the heating and hot water times. So if I press tick, I can go into schedule timer 1, January to December, and I can choose between heating and hot water mode. So if I choose heating by pressing tick, I can now adjust the day and the time at which I want the heating to be on or off. If in this section of the menu the heating is switched to be on, when it is on, it will be overridden by your room sensor, which controls the room temperature of the room in which it's situated. So for example, on Monday, if at 9 o'clock in the morning the heat pump is set to be on in heating mode, if your room sensors are satisfied, as in the rooms are warm enough, your heat pump won't kick in until those sensors tell it to do so. We can make adjustments in this screen as follows. In this section of the menu, we can change the heating scheduling. So here, for example, we can see that on Monday, the heating is set to be on between 6 o'clock in the morning and 9:30 at night. If we cycle through the various days, we can see that on each and every day, the schedule has been set exactly the same. If you want to edit this, you need to press the edit key. You need to select the days of the week that you wish to edit the heating for, in this case all of them. Press tick, and then once I'm in this section, we can press tick again and use the left and the right arrows to choose when we'd like the heating to be on or off. So there, what I've done is I've pressed tick over 12 AM, which has then triggered the heating to come on. I've then moved across to 3 AM. I've pressed tick again, which has then triggered the heating to be off at 3 AM. Once you're satisfied with the changes that you've made, if any, press the disk icon to save those changes. Your heat pump will now work according to those timings until you change them again. The same applies for the hot water mode. So again, if we select the hot water icon and press tick, we can see exactly the same screen, days of the week and times. And if we want to edit them, we press the edit button, we choose the days, we press tick to start an on period, we move the icon across to select a new off time, we press tick again, and we move along to the next desired on period. If you want to delete a heating period, move back to it, press tick, and erase it as follows. Save your changes. And use the return key to return back to the main menu. Your heating symbol here shows, as we discussed previously, that it is now on and working according to the timings that you've set. If you'd like to pause your heating system for a holiday, you enter holiday mode by highlighting the icon, pressing tick, and choosing whether or not you want heating or hot water to be disabled during that period of time. Please bear in mind, if you turn off your heating, the system will still operate according to frost protection settings, meaning that if the external weather temperature reaches 5 degrees or below, the heating system will kick in to prevent any freezing. We always recommend turning the hot water off, as if you're not using it, there's no point heating it. So again, we highlight and unhighlight the tick boxes to choose whether we want those modes to be active or not during holiday mode. So no to hot water and yes to heating is our recommendation. When you want to set the time period for your holiday mode, in the main screen, press the suitcase button once, and now we can change the start and end dates of the holiday period. So here we can see the start date is the 18th of February 2022. We can alter these by using the arrow key and the plus and minus to change the date and the day and the year. So we'll leave that as the 18th of February 2022. We'll cycle through. Now we need to select the end date, which is when the heating system will revert back to previously set operation. So we're going to set the year to 2022. We're going to set the month to March and the same date, the 18th of March. To confirm that, press tick. Your system is now in holiday mode and will end Your system is now in holiday mode, and if you'd like to cancel that early, press the suitcase button, select yes to cancel or no to continue holiday mode. The last two sections of the menu include initial settings, where you can alter the date, time, language, summertime, temperature display, Celsius and Fahrenheit. We might have put our contact number in here for you in case you need to get hold of us. Time display, so 12-hour or 24-hour. Celsius and Fahrenheit again. Lastly is the service section of this menu, which is what we will use when we do your annual service to check various parameters of the system. The last section of the main menu allows you to cycle between hot water and heating modes and gives you an indication of the energy usage of your system. The left-hand section shows the hot water boost mode, which if you find that you've run out of hot water, but your hot water system is out of an on period, as in it's not due to come on until later in the day, you can temporarily boost it by pressing this button once, and the heat pump will then turn its attention to heating the hot water cylinder until it reaches the desired set temperature, which in this case is 50 degrees. It will then revert back to normal operation once that has happened. The next section is the hot water mode. So we have three options here. You can see there's a clock symbol next to the tap, which means it's in schedule mode, so it's operating according to the schedule that you've set. We press this button once, it will show a play symbol, which means the hot water will be on constantly, which means that whenever the tank has dropped in temperature by 5 degrees, the heat pump will kick back in. So in this system, for example, we have a set temperature of 50 degrees, as shown here. Once that reaches 45 degrees, the heat pump will kick back in until the cylinder's at 50 degrees. If you press this button once, you'll see a play symbol appear next to the tap. This means that the hot water system is governed purely by temperature and not time. In this particular system, we've set the hot water temperature at 50 degrees. So when this value reaches 45, the heat pump will kick in and heat the hot water cylinder back to 50 degrees, regardless of whether the heating is... no, that's the final take now.
Regardless, from regardless.
Regardless of whether the heating is set to be on or not. If we go back to this menu and we press the button again, we'll see the off symbol, meaning the hot water is turned off. We'll turn this back to schedule mode now. The same applies for the heating system. So here we can see that there's a clock symbol, meaning that it's working according to the schedule that you've set. Now it's in constant mode, and now it's off. If you have both set to constant, whenever the tank temperature drops and the heat pump kicks in to heat the tank, the heat pump will only work in hot water mode for 1 hour before switching back over to heating mode for half an hour. If the hot water cylinder hasn't reached temperature after that hour, after the half an hour of heating, the heat pump will revert back to hot water until it has reached the desired temperature. We'll leave these back on schedule mode. The last section is the energy usage. So the top value is the energy used, 339 kilowatt hours, and the bottom is the energy that the heat pumps generated, 1050 kilowatt hours. This gives you your efficiency rating. It should be cleaned every year at annual service. This is your system pressure gauge, which shows the pressure within your heating system. We will always leave it set to 1.5 bar, and if you find that it drops in pressure because of air having left the system, for example, you can increase it by opening this tap and this tap through 90 degrees to allow water to enter the heating system, and just reverse the process to turn it back off again. This is your hot water charge pump, which circulates heating water around the hot water cylinder's coil to heat the hot water cylinder. This is your heat pump charge pump. This takes heating water from the heat pump and brings it here to the core of the system. This is your central heating circulating pump. In this particular system we've got 2 zones, so this one's labelled as the downstairs pump, as it takes heating water from the core of the system here to the downstairs radiators.